testing, testing, testing. We getting there. We building it. We're building it. Fuck, they thought they were going to hold us back. Oh, we working on it. Hold on, I just got to bring up the chat. Once I get the chat loaded, I think I found the chat. I think I figured it out. Hold on. Yeah, I can hear me in the back. I can hear me yelling in the back. Hold on. Hold on. All right, so that's working. Got the chat. Hey, we here. All right, new platform. And you know what? This is a lesson to be learned here. There's a lesson to be learned here. Let me pull this up just so I could, hold on. There is a lesson to be learned here. I'm going to share with y'all the lesson that I learned and am learning. Hold on. Let me see this real quick. All right. Let me click out of all these. So this is different. I'm doing this on the fly with y'all. This is a bit different than what I'm used to. So it actually says we're live. No, it doesn't say we're live on here. All right. So I'm just going to pull up my post. Hold on. We're going to get right into the conversation. We're not even going to play with it. Let me, is this it? All right. No. Bear with me. Because now it's a little bit, the only thing now that I have to do is pre-upload everything, which is cool. But I just want to make sure that Google Chrome, X. Hold on. Okay, so now that is a fact, Finn. That is a fact, because honestly, I was about to call it quits. I'm like, yo, man, forget this. But yeah, what Finn just said, and the one thing, so I'm on the OBS platform, so this is my first time going live on this platform. Let me reconnect the internet so I don't have any issues. Hold on. Heidi, I'm on the show. All right, I'll call you back. That's my partner. When she calls, I got to pick up. I'm like, is there emergency? All right, so let's see. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so now I just got to test the audio. So now let me test this audio. Make sure y'all can hear me. I know y'all can hear me.
Privately, and do you know who also is sympathetic what I'm saying? JD Vance.
Now, so this is what I'm actually going to do. Let me know if you guys could hear that. Let me know if you guys could hear Charlie Kirk when he was talking. Let me actually put these headphones on. And I'm going to change the preferences to headphones so that way we're not getting a double audio. Mr. Telephone. Whew, this is the pressure. This is like a pressure cook game. All right, let's see. Do I have output? Let me see if I can go Rodecaster. Ooh. I think I'm supposed to have multi-output device. Hold on. Let me know if did y'all hear? No, but let me know. Oh, you did hear the video. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. Did it come through in an echo? Did the video, I'm gonna play it one more time. I'm gonna play the Charlie Kirk video. Let me know if it's coming through as an echo. Okay, so now I don't hear the volume. Hold on. That's something that I just did on my end. Hold on. Rodecaster Pro output.
is a weird fanatical obsession with some people in my party that are here right now, like Senator Lindsey Graham. Yep. And it's insane and it's weird and it's destructive to our own country. And I speak about it both publicly and privately. And you know who also is...
When you hear Charlie, does it sound like it's playing out of two? Like, does it sound like there's an echo? Because that's why sometimes I use the mic. I don't know if there's an echo cancellation feature on here. So just let me know, like when you heard the, let me know if the echo cancellation is there. And let me do this so I'm not. So the one good thing about OBS is it's like a custom platform. You can do whatever you want. Like I can, but you have to do everything. Like I can do this. Like everything's manual, so it's free. It's like it's dope. It's dope. It's dope. It sounds far away. Okay, give me a sec. We working on it. All right. So this is what I'm gonna do. System settings. Sound. All right, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try something. Give me a second. Audio, MIDI. Clicked the wrong thing. Audio, MIDI. Black hole, external headphones. Okay, so instead of this mic, we're using this. Okay. Now let me see if it plays.
War with Iran is a weird fanatical obsession with some people in my party that are here right now, like Senator Lindsey Graham. And it's insane and it's weird and it's destructive to our own country. And I speak about it both publicly and privately. And you know who also is sympathetic when I'm saying? JD Vance. And so that's a fact. And so it's just like this war with Iran is a weird fanatical obsession with some people in my party that are here right now, like Senator Lindsey Graham. And it's insane and it's weird and it's destructive to our own country. And I speak about it both publicly and privately. And you know who also is sympathetic when I'm saying? Loud? JD Vance. Okay. And so that's a fact. And so it's just like.
Are we good? And somebody I saw Samira asked where BK has been. Unfortunately, we had to let go. Let me stop. It was a shame what happened. No, Glay, y'all gotta hit up Glay, man. Y'all gotta hit up Glay. But Glay, he's been doing a lot of his real estate stuff, so sometimes his meetings are in the AM. So my mic is down 2 ticks. So let me see. So that should have just moved my mic up. Let me know if that just moved my mic up. Let me know if you're hearing it should be going low and high. So I just moved it up higher. So that should be working. So we should be good. We should have the background audio. We should have all this stuff. And now y'all heard, and once I get the thumbs up, one more thumbs up saying that Charlie's good, my mic volume is good, let me know. See, this is cool. I can actually go here. Wait, can I? Okay. We're good? Okay. All right. We are on OBS. Welcome Talk Studio. You're up out of there. We only really needed you because it was convenient, but I should have been forced myself. And this is a great lesson. I set up this OBS maybe about 4 weeks ago. And every time I'm like, I need to go on OBS and do this. But because I know it's a better platform and it just allows me more freedom to say if I wanted to extend this video out, I can just boom, and then I can kind of extend it and I can just play. I could put myself above it. And I could be in the corner here. You could do all this type of stuff. That's cool. So and it has undo. which makes my life a lot easier. All right, so you could do all this type of stuff. So it's just an easier platform, but I kept just getting nervous about it because it's like, I haven't really used it. I didn't know how to schedule a video. Like, so it's like, okay, how do I schedule it? How do I put it on all these platforms? So I literally have been in school when it comes to all this stuff, just chat GPT, and it takes forever. It gets so technical where it's like, I'm literally learning, okay, how do you use this? How do you use this? So this used to be so overwhelming to me, but now what happens? You force yourself into some situations and you figure it out. You figure it out. So let's get to the video now at hand when it comes to Charlie Kirk. So Charlie Kirk, we know where he stands on Iran. I swear the more stuff that comes out regarding Charlie Kirk, regarding his stance when it comes to Israel, when it comes to Iran, which is a similar situation to Israel, it becomes scary a bit because you sit here and you're like, oh, Charlie Kirk had all of this influence. He had all of this influence. If you already got the Groypers and Nick Fuentes and his crew against our government working with so closely with Israel, and then you have Charlie Kirk and his massive following. Charlie Kirk probably, a lot of people may not be aware, Charlie Kirk probably has the largest following of young voters in America. And just to kind of refresh our minds on how important that is, think about what we always talk about, how the Democrats wanted to bring in a lot of voters with the migrants, so they were willing to open the borders. Now, a lot of people, and I have even said, like, look, both parties wanted these people in. It wasn't just about the voting, but it's also about having cheap labor. But it just kind of shows the importance of young people voting. This is an important thing. So when it comes to Charlie Kirk, him representing so many young people, when young people start to question Israel, when young people start to question war with Iran, when young people overall start to question why we have such a strong relationship, why they're our greatest ally when it comes to Israel, based on the positions that our relationship with Israel is putting us in, that can become a problem. I don't want to act like I'm sugarcoating something here or trying to say something without saying it. I'm not saying that Israel is responsible for Charlie Kirk's assassination. I'm not saying that. I also wouldn't say that they're not. I have no idea. I tell you what has been presented to us doesn't seem real. Like Tyler Robinson, this just seems like so many inconsistencies. It just seems very weird. I don't know what to believe. So that's cool. I don't have to decide this is where I stand. I'm standing on it. I'm not budging. Nah, we'll just see. More information comes in, but it does look, there's a lot of question marks, from them covering up certain things or them saying the wrong weapon or to how Erica Kirk's reacting. All of this stuff, it just seems very weird, but we don't know what's going on. But let's move on to so we have a real good conversation that's going to set the tone on the rest of the things that we'll talk about. Now, this is Jimmy Dore. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Jimmy Dore. We've played a lot of his videos in the past, and I want to bring up one now that I thought was a very, very interesting conversation, something that we talk about all the time when we make the reference about good cops policing bad cops. So let me pull that up. Now, of course, this is why I say you got to do it early. Now I have to make sure that all the videos are already good to go beforehand, because you just may have to make a couple little minor adjustments on OBS. But actually, this looks like it fit perfectly just the way it is. So we'll begin. We will begin. Actually, hold on. This is what I mean. It's a little bit. Here we go. So I will not be doing this every time. Today I may be, but not normally. Because normally this would just have to already be prepped. But let me just make sure that y'all getting the full screen. All right. Full screen up top. Full screen on bottom. I don't mind me chilling over here. And that looks pretty good to me. A little edge up here. All right, so let's take a look at the video. Keep the main thing, brother.
I'm far out.
So let me just. So there was a lot of people who would I would cringe when I would hear them referred to the Jews, and the Jews do this, and the Jews control, and the Jews think. Does this kind of what I'm hearing, Keaton, does it kind of justify that kind of anti-Semitism in a sense? Does it or
no, I mean, quite frankly, yes, it does. And I say this as a Jewish person myself. Like I am completely tired of hearing accusations of anti-Semitism. I mean, quite frankly, the way the Jewish community on a whole has behaved these past couple of years has been disgusting on a whole. There are exceptions. I like to think I'm one of the exceptions. I like to think there are
not
several
a wealthy oligarch.
exceptions.
The rich people do it.
But yeah, no, it has been absolutely shameful to the point where, like, yeah, at a certain point, it's not on everybody else to, like, you know, have these sort of internal debates for you. You know, it's not on everybody else to, like, parse out, okay, who are the Jews who don't advocate for genocide and who are the Jews who don't. And part of the reason this becomes a big problem is because you have organizations like the ADL who are so insistent that Judaism and Zionism are the same thing, that, you know, they are really causing people to perhaps overlook the distinctions between Zionist Jews and anti-Zionist Jews. And at a certain point, like, it is on the Jewish community to get its shit together and put out a consistent and unmistakable message that we're against genocide, occupation, and apartheid. And the Jewish...
Allow me to stop right there. This is what we've talked about a lot. Now, we've celebrated, I don't know if celebrated, but given credit to the rabbis that speak out about this. We see a lot of New York City rabbis who speak out against Zionism, and they'll call it out saying that, hey, these are non-religious people that are just trying to use religion to just create some sort of real estate project. Achieving this greater Israel has nothing to do with the actual religion of Judaism. Now, this is what the rabbis say. Now, a lot of us, when we talk about the Jewish culture, a lot of people get nervous because, like, well, that's not all Jewish people. That's not all Jewish people. Well, when something happens against Jewish people, we typically hear another group. You're forced to, like, put out a statement, right? A lot of times, not just. I don't want to make it seem like it's just Jewish people. You're forced to put out a statement. There were things when it came to. I remember George Floyd. So with the NFL alumni. So I'm a member of the NFL alumni, vice president of our New York City chapter. Yeah, shout out to that. Shout out to my big bro, Jude, the president. But I remember when George Floyd happened, there was like a rush for the NFL alumni to put out a statement. And I'm like, what? And I was going back and forth with them because it was like a big group meeting and they were putting out some weak statement where I was like, yo, if that's the case, why, like, don't put anything out. Now, I'm not any big name within the alumni, but I was making my voice heard. And the president of the time, Bart Oates, that was my guy. And I thought he was, you know, I didn't really think much of it as far as, you know, oh, Bart's going to be upset with me. I just said what I felt. And then Bart reached out to me afterwards like, yo, I appreciate you saying that, because it was just like everybody feels like they now have to have an opinion on something. And then you're watering it down with just like in a LeBron James fashion, like, well, what's going to sound safe? That was the energy of it. So I was pushing against it and they were like, well, why don't you, you know, instead of just having comments on it, why don't you edit it out, edit certain things that you think, because they had their statement. So I did just that and presented it to the group. And, you know, they felt whatever they felt. But the overall point was, why should everybody else feel pressure to make certain statements regarding things that go on in our country, and specifically in this case, when it comes to Israel and the genocide, well, what I believe is a genocide that has been committed against the Palestinians after the ethnic cleansing to take their land? Why should Jews feel that they're in such a privileged position where they don't have to speak out on that? It's almost like you want to benefit from all of the, like, you want to accept all the benefits that come from being Jewish and having Israel as the only Jewish state. You want all the benefits, but then you don't want the accountability that comes with actually calling the stuff out when you're doing something demonic. That's corny to me. That's cowardly to me. That's ungodly to me. And that's exactly what this gentleman is saying. The good cops have to police the bad cops. It is your responsibility. You can't just be upset that, this bad cop did something bad and people are talking about it. Yeah, they're talking about it because you're not talking about it. And now what happens when Jewish people don't hold themselves accountable, what does it do? It empowers the ADL and others to just say, this is anti-Semitic. Now the term Zionist, this is where it's gotten to the point. I showed y'all the video a couple weeks ago where, who was it? The new head of TikTok, or I think, the new head of TikTok now saying Zionism in a non-complimentary way is deemed anti-Semitic and hate speech. That is insane. Like, who do you think you are? Like, it's like on one end, you get upset when people call you out for controlling the media and having all this power in the media. But then you decide to come out and just say, this is hate speech. You literally are in a world where you can say nigga on YouTube. You could say nigga wherever, you could, whatever, however you want. You could say all this other stuff. The term Zionist is now deemed hate speech. Think about that. The term Zionist is deemed hate speech. And you expect me not to believe that Jewish people are controlling the media? You're showing it to us. You're bullying me with it. Like, every time I used to bring up Jewish people or Israel, you'd have that little, hesitation where it's like, I got to either push through or it's going to hold me back. No, I'm pushing through, bro. I feel like a coward when I'm willing to speak on everything else but not speak on Jewish people. It's like, am I feeding into this whole chosen people thing, this entitlement mindset? So I'm happy that this guy is calling this out exactly as he is, calling it out exactly as it is. Jewish people need to show up. Don't just show up and cry when somebody's criticizing Israel or criticizing Jewish culture or criticizing Zionism and say that it's anti-Semitic. Oh my God, the term Zionism is hate speech. You know what's hate action? Committing a genocide against people. Stealing their land and not compensating them for it, not giving them the right to return. That's actually hate reality. But we act like hate speech is worse than genocide. Let's keep going.
Community simply has not done that. And like I said, say this
is that
as
even
a guy
a thing?
who grew
I know
up
they
essentially
say
in a Jewish family. Like, it is a somewhat tough thing to say. Like I said, I didn't grow up a serious Jew. But the fact of the matter is the Jewish community has not come out in one voice and condemned the Holocaust of our time. And that is a stain on the Jewish community. Plain and simple.
You bully everybody into learning about the Holocaust. And the reason why I say bullying everybody is because why is that such a relevant thing when it comes to American education in the public school system that takes precedent over a lot of other things? But we have to learn about the Holocaust to the point where I'm telling y'all, with my public school education, I didn't even know that it was like into adulthood where I even realized to the degree that the Holocaust is the same thing. Like, that's World War II. Like, I didn't even understand. I'm over here thinking now, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit as I'm thinking about it, but I did not, I'm telling y'all, I did not grow up with a proper understanding of World War II. I just saw it as the Holocaust. Everybody, and it's one of those things, the reason why I say also bullied, because you can't question it. You can't question anything about it. I can question the transatlantic slave trade and how it happened. I can sit here and say, that's BS. Like, it didn't happen like that. They said that there was this amount of people that came over from Africa. No, actually, I think there was a lot less. Could you imagine me saying that regarding the Holocaust? Why?
Simple. I wish it wasn't that way. I really wish it wasn't that way.
I do my part, in charge of
but
it.
I'm only, I'm one person, and that's just kind of the way it is. So, does it justify anti-Semitism? I don't condone bigotry of any kind. But at a certain point, like if the most powerful and influential members of a community are insisting that to oppose what Israel has done these past couple of years is to be anti-Semitic, and if they are insisting that the Jewish state has not only the right to commit a genocide, but the obligation to commit a genocide in order to defend its position as a Jewish state, well, that is going to cause a lot of people to foster animosity toward Jews. And at a certain point, at what point does that become? Does the Jewish community become responsible for that? Like, I think we've crossed that line, quite frankly, to the point where somebody starts talking about the Jews. What am I going to argue with them? I can't.
I mean, do.
Honestly, I can't.
I do. Yeah. I argue with them. I don't put it. You're responsible for what you do. I thought that's basic shit. There is no Jewish community unless you're talking about Lakewood, from where I'm from. There's all those Chabad people living together. My girlfriend that was Jewish hated when she lived in Borough Park. She hated them way more than any Nick Fuentes follower hates them. She hated them because they treated her like a whore because she didn't cover her head up because she was reformed. There's a bunch of it's like how they made Iraq out of people that don't go together. The Zionists decided, what does that even mean, anti-Semitism? Does it mean I don't like what Israel's doing? They change the definition all the goddamn time. And all these people that don't agree get lumped in because they might need you as a hostage. Like they killed the
It's yeah, and to be totally, it's like these conversations, as infuriating as a lot of it is, because I hate, like, I just don't like when certain people feel like I don't like things not being fair. Like, there's just something that rubs me the wrong way that I have to call out when things aren't fair. It's just, I don't know. Y'all can ask my parents. I've always been like this. I don't like that. There's something that just feels weak within me when I have to just go along with something that I know isn't fair, but because I should fear the repercussions of speaking out on it, then I shouldn't. I'm not with that, bro. I'm not with that. Never have, never will be. I want to move over to this other conversation that was had. Hold on. Let me make sure I got the right video pulled up. Give me a sec. Y'all know we figuring it out. All right, let's bring up this guy. This guy right here, Randy Fahn. Randy Fahn. Let me move this over a little bit. Let's go through his timeline a bit, if we shall. Let's go through his timeline a bit. Let me show y'all a couple of these things here. Randy Fahn, in response to a lady, this Muslim lady was discussing certain things about dogs, and dogs should be banned from homes because dogs are dirty creatures. So she was talking about Islamic culture. Now, dogs are dirty. Dogs are dirty. Like, I don't know if y'all see in the background, you'll see a bunch of these dogs walking around, and they don't wear sneakers, in case y'all weren't aware. They don't wear sneakers. They licking everything. They stepping on the ground on top of other dogs' piss and bowels. And then they walk into the house, jump on your bed, jump on your couch. Clearly, dogs are dirty. A lot of people don't believe that dogs are house pets. So this lady, now, to each their own. You can have a dog. Doesn't matter to me. I wish I had a dog at certain times. May end up getting a dog, but they're dirty. It is what it is. Now, she made a comment regarding dogs being dirty when it comes to the Islamic faith. They don't believe that dogs are household animals. Okay. So this is what this guy tweets out. Hold on. Let me see. Did he bring it down? Did he take it down? Hold on. He may have taken it down. No, he didn't take it down. Hold on. I just got to keep scrolling. All right. Here it is. Let me make sure y'all are seeing it. All right. So it says, oh, wait, this isn't it. Hold on. I'm losing the steam. All right. So this is what you do when this happens. Damn it. Where's this tweet? Where is Randy Fahn's tweet? Randy Fine dogs Muslims. I tried to go on his page. I tried to do it that way, but we'll do it this way. Here it is. This is what Randy Fine put up. If they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. This is a congressman. If they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. Could you imagine if somebody wrote that and replaced Muslims with Jews? This mindset is the mindset that's controlling our politicians. This mindset is the mindset that is controlling our politicians. If they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. I just want to leave that there. I just want to leave that there. Do you think the ADL, who was supposed to actually stand up for not just Jewish people, but is supposed to stand up against hate speech, do you think the ADL should comment on this? Do you think the ADL should say something? Do you think Donald Trump, I don't know, should a congressman be allowed to speak like this? Maybe this is the reason why my parents don't want to move down to Florida. Because they think it's ran by people like this, which maybe it is. And maybe it'll only get worse if Byron Donalds wins. That's why I'm, what's my guy? James Fishbeck? Is it Fishbeck or Fishback? Yeah, I think that's my guy. Whatever, the guy that we put on last week, that's my guy. That's my guy when it comes to this stuff. I can't, us being so submissive generation after generation when it comes to Jewish people and Jewish culture, and them being this entitled, protected group that's protected in a way that no other group is protected, leads people to thinking that they can write stuff like this. And this isn't even the wildest thing that this guy has put up. If you guys are familiar with him, then you know he puts up a lot of this type of stuff. But let me move on. I got to make sure that, let me not start complaining. All right, let me move on. Let me pull up the next video. It's a little bit slower, so give me a sec. I want to give y'all something. Actually, y'all going to like this one. Y'all going to like this interesting video here. Interesting video. So apparently it's black people's fault. Apparently anti-Semitism is black. That's the biggest threat to Israel is apparently this young black generation. This is one of the proudest moments of my life. I didn't think black people make an impact on really much of anything. But apparently, like I didn't think we were that important to be a threat. Or to be, you know what I mean? To cause such problems within the Jewish community. But let me play this video for y'all. And if you see the caption, it says, for those of you who are confused by LeBron's words. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that as well. But take a look at this video. Take a look. If I can find the video in the background. Hold on. All right.
Generation of the black.
Hold on, I want to make it a little bigger. No, we're just going
to.
This was an Israeli government official who was saying this.
Generation of the black community.
So it says the major problem, and it got cut off, but she's going to say it again. The major problem with Israel is with the young generation of the black community. The major problem with Israel is with the young generation of the black community. That's very interesting. It makes me wonder about the things that Kyrie Irving was putting up. And it's like, why would the black community be a threat? And I've heard other leaders in the past that are seen as very hateful people, and I don't even want to say this one in particular's name, but it's rumored that he was actually one of the people that were saying that the black people in America were related or descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. There was something like that. I've heard different things like that. But it just makes me wonder when I hear this. It's like, damn, what if black people? I thought that Jewish people were so connected to black people. That's what they always tell us. Oh, but we got to separate Jewish from Israel. Okay, so I remember putting out some stuff and them saying like, yeah, we've always worked hand in hand. So why would now, when it comes to Israel, black people be the younger generation of the black community? And what does that say about the older generation of the black community, perhaps? What does that say about the older generation of the black community? And there's nothing wrong with it. We're in different places. We're in different places exposed to different information. But what it says to me is that the older generation of blacks were not a threat, perhaps because they didn't have the information. They were dealing with other stuff, you know, to the point where maybe they didn't have time to be addressing these type of things. But let's keep going with the video.
It was an Israeli government official who was saying this, not some low-level operative or some rogue member of their diplomatic corps. This was a senior member of their administrative government who was saying this on American soil. Their biggest problem wasn't Hamas or Hezbollah or the Palestinian Authority or Syria or even Iran. She said that Israel's biggest problem was young black people in the United States. Video of the Israeli government holding up.
And I want to address a comment. So I can't put the comments on the screen yet. I don't think so. I haven't figured out how to do that, but I will. Let me actually see right here. Appearance. Embed and stream. Hold up. I think I can. All right. No, let me do that later. Let me not get ahead of myself. All right. So X1B wrote, Jews were behind the civil rights movement, but not because Jews love blacks, but because the civil rights movement undermines white solidarity. I've heard a lot of that, and I've thought a lot about that. And even when you look at like something like the NAACP, like a lot of these black organizations were founded by white people or Jewish people, and it's not that white people or Jewish people can't do anything positive for black people. But I think if you're pushing a movement, it's important from an accountability standpoint for you to take ownership in that thing that you're pushing, right? I think that it's important. That's why I think it's important for Jewish people to come and speak out regarding the things that Jewish people are doing. Don't have me speaking out about it. You speak out about it. It's your issue. It's your people. Just like when it comes to black on black crime or black on black violence or black culture, I never want a white person or any other non-black to be speaking out upset about black people killing other black people more than I am. I just don't want, why would they be more upset? Do they care more? So let's keep going. Let's keep going with the video. But yeah, there's a lot of instances where people try to align themselves. And I've noticed this when it comes specifically to Jewish people, where it's like you'll conveniently align yourself with the victimhood struggle of black people. But then like that video or that X post that we put up with Lauren Loomer, when it came to the Super Bowl, there were no white people on this show, no white people being represented. Oh, now you're white. I didn't know Jewish people identified as white. I thought it was one of these transgender type of things where it's he, him, or she, or no, we identify as just this. We're not identifying as white. We no longer identify as white. Yes, we know that we are European people, but we don't identify as white. I thought that's what was happening, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's keep going.
Private convention here in the United States. One of the people in attendance at this secret meeting was Judith Varney Schorer. She's a former Israeli consul general who was operating out of Atlanta. She was one of the main people saying that the biggest problem that they had was young black people in the United States. But don't worry, they've got some black leaders on the payroll.
The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community. The problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community.
So it makes you look at that post that we put up about LeBron James a little bit differently, maybe. It does for me. It just highlights it even more. Puts an exclamation point on it. Maybe this is why LeBron James is so scared to death and has to, during a current genocide that is being committed or a war, even let's take a step back. Even if you do not believe that what's going on between Palestine and Israel is a genocide, you can say that it's war, right? Can you say that there's a conflict at the very least? So let's just say that there's war, there's a conflict. When LeBron James jumps on stage in front of the world as the face of the NBA, as one of the most influential athletes in the world for the last 20 years, and says that he's heard nothing but great things about Israel, it should raise an eyebrow. Or maybe, and a lot of times when I'm talking to y'all got to understand, I'm not really talking to y'all because I do feel at certain times I'm preaching to the choir because I know that y'all get it. I know that y'all get it. But maybe there's others, and we need to, promote this to others because clearly this is not being exposed in a way where it now has LeBron James. See, when LeBron James is giving a speech, he shouldn't think that it's the safe thing to do to say that he's heard nothing but great things about Israel. That should not be the safe thing. One, it's a lie. One, it's a blatant lie. And two, you just shouldn't be, that should not be seen as the safe bet. The only reason why that's the safe bet is because just like this lady is saying that the young black generation, is the problem. Well, I think that Jewish people control a lot of the media. And like Netanyahu said it, not me. What did he say? That the 8th front or the 7th front, I forget which front it is, but it was social media. They need to make sure that they're getting the right messaging out. So they're going to work with the influencers. They're going to work with the platforms. Do we not think that LeBron James falls into the category of influencer? So maybe we're seeing why that happens. And another thing, go check out I put up a video going into a little bit more depth on the topic of LeBron James and what he said. And I also included in that the statements that he made when Kyrie Irving was going through the things that he was going through. I had to refresh my memory on that. When he was saying that what Kyrie Irving did caused a lot of harm to a lot of people and that he doesn't respect that. But here, so Kyrie Irving putting up a tweet is causing a lot of harm to people, LeBron James, and you don't respect that. But what's going on in Palestine, I guess you respect because you've heard nothing but great things regarding Israel. Let's keep going.
Black is when the young generation
on American soil or some rogue saying this, not some low-level operative or this was an Israeli government official who was saying this, not some low-level operative or some rogue member of their diplomatic corps. This was a senior member of their administrative government who was saying this on American soil.
Whoa, I didn't realize it was on American soil, but why even be surprised? Let me reel in and take back that whoa. Why, who's surprised? Maybe we should start changing the name of, instead of American soil, we should say Israel's little bro's soil. That's what I feel like. I feel like I'm a little bruh, like a little bro, like a little homie. Like just instead of America, we're just going to change the name of America. Whenever America comes up, we're just going to replace it with Israel's little homie. Oh, and then things start to make more sense. Israel's little homie. That's what you do. You send your little homie out on a dummy mission. Like, yo, I'm the big homie. I'm not going to wrestle in the mud with these. I send my little homies to do it, my little soldiers. That's how they look at us. That's at least how I feel that you're looking at me. Thinking I'm going to start putting my life on the line, getting involved in these conflicts that have absolutely nothing to do with me. Like Iran. What has Iran done to us? It's almost like going back to that Muhammad Ali stance, where it's like, what did Muhammad Ali say famously? Maybe one of y'all remember. I don't think I was born yet. When he said when he was getting pressed on not going to war in the Vietnam War, and he said, Viet Cong ain't never done nothing to me. Maybe we need to look into that.
Their biggest problem wasn't Hamas or Hezbollah or the Palestinian Authority or Syria or even Iran. She said that Israel's biggest problem was young black people in the United States. Video of the Israeli
So there you have it. There you have it. It's just more of the same. It's more of the same, but we figuring it out because we're learning. We are learning. So Unc said, when you stop to think about the amount of control that we do have on our society, just in the educational field alone, it saddens me greatly. Our politicians, X1 wrote, our politicians are owned by Israel. We might as well be Israel's little buddy. That's what we are. Yo, we just need to accept it. Sometimes we need to accept where we're at in order to get somewhere different. Because if we don't accept where we're at and see it plain as day, then we're just going to continue just running in this same cycle. This same cycle. The nerve that a lot of these folk have. The nerve. But let's, we're not done. We're not done. All right, so I'm going to finish it off with, I had another video that I wanted to show y'all, but all right, let's finish this topic off just so we're clear on this topic. Let me finish it off with this very quickly. So a lot of people aren't sure, you know, what is Bibi Netanyahu's intentions? What are his intentions? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to control? I think this video sums it up pretty clearly for me. Let me just do what I do over here. Boom, boom, boom. Didn't give y'all that last boom. All right, let's bring this over here. I'll be in the cut. I'm cool. All right, there we go. Take a look at this. And it's based on Gaza and what are Israel's intentions for Gaza.
You will go immediately into a meeting with your security cabinet. Will Israel take control of all of Gaza?
We intend to, in order to assure our security, remove Hamas there, enable the population to be free of Gaza, and to pass it to civilian governance. That is not Hamas and not anyone advocating the destruction of Israel. That's what we want to do. We want to liberate ourselves and liberate the people of Gaza from the awful terror of Hamas.
Imagine, yeah. Imagine that. You want to rid the Palestinians of the awful terror of Hamas as you just pummeled their city, killing 100,000. And when the actual numbers come out, because we don't know the actual numbers, I would bet that there's many more than 100,000 people that have lost their lives based on Israel's attacks. But Bibi Netanyahu, he wants to free the people. He wants to be a freedom fighter for the Palestinian people. And he wants to take over Gaza as if they should trust Bibi Netanyahu and Israel to take over Gaza. And then, yeah, we'll decide, you know, what government, you know, then goes in. Not a government like Hamas. We need a government that, you know, is not a threat to Israel. Bibi Netanyahu looks around in his entire region and everybody's a threat. You want to know why everybody's a threat? Because of how you got what you got. When you steal something from a group of people, you feel like everybody's a threat now to take it from you or to call out the legitimacy of that actually being yours. That's why you always hear, does Israel have the right to exist? Does Israel have the right to exist? Like, what a goofy statement that so many people answer and allow themselves to answer. And it's like a bullying tactic. Does Israel have the right to exist? What type of dumb question is that? We talked about colonization on a couple of shows before and last week. Our entire world is made up of land that was probably taken in some type of war based on one group killing another group, at least as the world is currently constructed. To say that any place has the right to exist, it's like, no, nothing has the right to exist. I guess that, like, it's just a funny way of bullying people into not saying what's actually real, but just playing victim, or just not even playing victim, but just getting bullied by Israel to say, I really don't know. I don't know what people mean when they say Israel has the right to exist. I can't even understand it. I don't know what they mean. Like, I don't know what's going through your mind when you say, okay, does America have the right to exist? So America had the right to even justify America having the right to exist. Do you know what you're agreeing to? You're saying that Europeans come into America and committing the same ethnic cleansing of the people that were here, that was righteous. When you say that America has the right to exist. Now, should America, that's why the question as it's stated is just a dumb question, but people just answer it. Like, yeah, Israel has the right to exist. America doesn't have the right to exist. Now, America did what it did and conquered, so therefore it's theirs. I took your stuff, now it's mine. It's the law of the jungle. But to say you have the right to do that, no, you don't have the right. You have free will to do whatever you want. But to say that you have the right as if this is like something ordained by God, like it's insane. It's insane. Let's keep going. Oh, was that the end of that video? All right. So yeah, it's they're going to take over Gaza. They're going to do what they do. And the rest of us are just going to sit back and allow it, not do anything, not say anything. But hopefully one thing that we will do is continue to express this level of discomfort when it comes to our government, politicians, powerful people, relevant people being controlled by our big brother Israel to do their bidding at the expense of putting American lives at risk and making us a target for a lot of this stuff. They call us the big Satan or little Satan and y'all the big Satan. Yeah, why? Why? We need to change that. All right, so let's get into the last thing that we'll discuss today. Trying to get y'all out of here, not keep y'all too long.
Alan Ferber.
I thought this was a very, very interesting topic. Very interesting topic. This is something that we always talk about, like young kids having roommates, not being able to afford homes, but very rarely do I hear us focus on, let's say, the community that's over 65 years old. And I was not aware of this. Maybe it just wasn't a thing that I thought of, but I think you guys will find it interesting. Let me press play.
Alan Ferber shares a fourth-floor walk-up apartment in New York City with a roommate. At 87, escalating rent costs hurt.
So the rents have gone way up along with that.
It's gone insanely crazy.
Did you ever think that you would have a roommate at this age?
No, not at all.
He splits the $2,000 monthly rent for a 500-square-foot apartment with Daniel Yaffet. Yaffet, who's 69, is an avid biker. He sleeps in this loft.
Could you afford to retire, you think?
Well, I wouldn't be in New York. Dan, where'd you get that cup?
They connected through the New York Foundation for Senior Citizens, a nonprofit that matches seniors looking to share housing costs.
I was by myself for a bit, and I thought I should get a roommate just to help.
More than 1 million Americans aged 65 and over lived with unrelated roommates in 2024, a 16% increase from 2019.
This is very sad. It's sad in a lot of ways. There's a lot of thoughts that are going through my mind. It's sad that they don't have family that they're living with. And maybe this is just based on our culture. 18 years old, you got to get out the house. We don't have that kind of family structure. And it goes back to when we always hear the stories about, back in the day, we had families, everybody, people stayed in the home until they got married or something like that. There was a necessity behind that. It was a necessity for our culture, but somehow along the way, American culture changed to where, because there's no necessity, we didn't feel the need to have tighter knit families. Other cultures, they do that. Like, that's what they do. That's what they do. I always remember one of Maya's close friends. She was in the house helping support the family, contributing to the family. And I believe she's Ukrainian. Maya, you may know who I'm talking about. So you could, I don't know if it's relevant to put, what exactly her background is, but I believe she's Ukrainian. And we see a lot of Asian people do this when they come over here. We see a lot of Latino, Hispanic culture. I always forget what's the proper term. But we see them doing a lot of that stuff where they'll live in the same home, grow, maybe even own that home, and then everybody contribute to getting the next home. Americans, like, we're very selfish. We don't embrace family the way that other cultures do, at least what it seems to be, because this is a very sad thing. You know, at 65 years old, not to say that it's a bad thing that you have to have a roommate, but it's just like, damn, you got to go on a website to find somebody to live with. You don't have family. So that just bothers me a lot. Just bothers me a lot. That's all.
If you didn't have a roommate, could Social Security, you think, cover all your expenses?
Barely. What really helps is working at Costco 3 days a week.
So he said that Social Security wouldn't be able to cover his expenses. This is one of the, like, we were sold. I struggle between, like, it's easy for me to say we were sold a lie, or our parents were sold a lie about, you know, you just work here, then you retire, you can live your life, you can afford to live. It's not that. It's no longer you could just go get a factory job and your wife stay at home and you have 2 cars, you send your kids off to college. It's just not that. It's just not that. And it's not that, especially in a lot of these cities that we choose to live in. So it's the family aspect, but it's also, we have to identify that we can't get stuck thinking that the world is not going to change and we can't think, one, that the world's not going to change. And then we also can't get stuck into this thought process that we don't have to change with the world. We have to change as the world changes. So what a lot of people would think of, and this may be common sense to some, maybe it's different to others, move. There's a lot of places throughout the country that people move to have a better opportunity. Just like a lot of people who migrated here over the last few hundred years decided to move here for a better opportunity. But we get stuck in this mindset of thinking that, oh, no, this is where my family was born, so this is where I'm going to stay. Sometimes you got to make adjustments based on the times and based on your current situation. Maybe it makes more sense to move to start looking in the Midwest somewhere, maybe. A lot of people move down south to create a more affordable situation to where they are able to increase their lifestyles in a lot of ways. I forget what the term that I'm looking for. I forget the term. I'm sure a lot of y'all are saying it, but your quality of living. You're able to increase your quality of living. Like, you don't have to live in New York City. Maybe living in New York City, maybe that's outdated. Maybe it doesn't make the most sense to live in these big cities. Yes, we love the convenience of all these other things, but unless you own something in New York City, and this is how I look at it. If you own something, then you don't mind a city gentrifying, because that means that, hey, everything's going up. The value of your home is going up. But if you don't own, if you're not able to capitalize on the gentrification, then eventually you get priced out, and it may make sense for you to move somewhere else. Are people open to these things? Because when you're not willing to go somewhere else, all you do is you're just contributing to the rent going up more. You're just contributing to the price of the homes going up, because you'll scratch and claw, you'll get a roommate, you'll get an extra job just to pay the bills, rather than maybe just saying, nah, I'll just move somewhere else. And maybe there won't be as much of a demand to get this apartment, so therefore maybe the apartment will become more affordable for others to live. When it just doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. But a lot of people are not willing to consider a lot of those options. Let's keep going.
It's not just tenants in major cities. In 2024, older homeowners nationwide listing spare rooms for rent increased by 63%.
And hold up, I got to address this. So Masen just said I'm talking like Ben Shapiro. Maybe. And what he's referring to is Ben Shapiro saying, like, hey, you shouldn't be able to retire. You shouldn't be able to retire. So this is where I think it's different than Ben Shapiro. Retire, but just because you retire doesn't mean that you can live in the same place that you were living when you were working. Maybe you bought into the lie that, hey, okay, I can retire and still continue to live here. Things are getting more and more expensive. It just is what it is in certain cities. So that's just life. That is just life. People thought that they bought into these social security, and maybe it made sense for one generation, but just because it makes sense to one generation does not mean that it's going to make sense for the next generation. Could you imagine if I was thinking, okay, I'll just do the same thing that my parents had to do, and then I can afford to live? No, you have to adjust. You have to adjust to AI. I have a family member of mine that I need to, if my parents are listening, remind me to reach out to our family member. I have a couple family members that lost their jobs. They had government jobs. They were living outside of DC. They lost their jobs. Now they're at an age where they're around 50 years old, and it's hard for them to find a job. Now they're the older folk that go into an interview where they probably still feel young and energetic, but why would they hire you rather than hire somebody else who's half your age and they can pay a lot less and who they'll be able to mold and control a lot more? But you bought into that. It's the same thing when you buy into a company. When you put all of your eggs in one basket, sometimes when you get fired, you could work at a company for 30 years. Now you're older and now you're trying to find another job. It can become hard. It can become difficult. This is why a lot of times when I'm having the conversation with my parents, I'm like, no, this is, a lot of times they look at doing content, streaming, all these different types of things. It's like, yo, why are you wasting your time doing that? No, this is where things are moving. I want to make sure that I'm ahead of the curve. I want to make sure that when AI comes out, I'm able to use AI to help me surge even more upward, rather than me sit around and AI took my job. I don't even know what to do. AI replaced me. No, you have to always be thinking. It's like anything else. It's like your health. You don't just get to a point where, okay, now I'm healthy, I'm in shape, I can just fall back. You have to work harder now to experience those gains that you used to just be able to walk and lose weight, or walk and you see significant differences in your body. No, now you have to step it up a notch. Now you got to start sprinting to see those differences that you used to see walking. You have to constantly adjust, constantly challenge yourself. That's just what the world is. We can't get stuck into the same thinking that our parents had, because that was their thinking at the time. I'm sure our parents at the time when they were our age were thinking the same thing when it came to their parents. We can't get stuck in the same thing. We can't. Every generation has to be very responsible in understanding, okay, where are things going? Where's the direction of these things? Where are things moving? How can I make sure that I'm ahead of the curve? How can I make sure that I'm prepared when things take a big shift? That's the only way to look at it. So maybe that's Ben Shapiro-esque. Maybe that's Ben Shapiro thinking. I don't disagree with everything that Ben Shapiro says. Matter of fact, I used to agree with a lot of the things that he says. It's just now the whole thing, Israel stuff. It's just a fact over feeling. Isn't that what Ben Shapiro says? When I tend to disagree with Ben Shapiro is when he puts his feelings over facts, like his feelings for Israel. And then all the facts seem to go away or to not be as relevant. So yeah, that's kind of where my mind is with all this stuff. Phyllis said, my mom wanted to keep her apartment as long as she could. Her last year she stayed with me, but she still kept her apartment. We would go and visit it. She slept with me. The best gift I had. Hold on. But she still kept her apartment. We would go and visit. She slept with me. The best gift ever. Or the best gift year I had. Okay. And this is another thing where, a lot of times, like I think back to my grandmother's house. Why did we not keep that in the family? Now, if we would have just passed that down to the family wait, what? Hold up. I just had a complete. Why didn't we keep it in the family? Because you had to sell off a lot. All right, let me not get into too much details. Why didn't we keep my grandmother's house in the family? And we don't know what we don't know at the time. But if you don't keep homes in the family, certain assets that are appreciating rather than depreciating, then this is just going to be the reality of a lot of these situations. Just imagine how important it could be just to have a family in the house, like a house in the family. A place that you can go where it's like, okay, this is already paid off. We don't have to worry about this. This is at least some place where you can go. And, if you need to save up, stack up a little bit, then you have the ability to do so. Shoot, Maya and I, we're in the process right now. Thank God we have parents that have an opportunity now so we can get out instead of we're paying like 3 apartments now, then we're paying 2, and now we're down to 1 because, now people may say it's necessity that drove us back. Nah, could just change the way that, other things, but it's like now you get the opportunity to be back with family. So Mom, Dad, make sure our room is ready. Mama Kim, make sure our room is ready. Mama Kim and Lamont. But yeah, this is we're just all figuring this stuff out. We're all figuring this stuff out. Nobody knows what's going to happen. A lot of these things you can't predict, but I think we just always have to be on our toes when it comes to this. A lot of us we always want to get to that place of comfort, but things are moving too fast, especially in a lot of these big cities. If you're living in a big city, things are moving fast. If you want stuff to move a little slower, go out to the country, go down south, go in the Midwest. Things will move a little bit slower, and even things are moving fast there. But yeah. All right, let's keep it moving. And I'm seeing a lot of the comments. I hope I didn't piss anybody off regarding the dog comment, but dogs are dirty. It is what it is. You can love a dog. Sometimes your kids are dirty. The little babies are dirty. Kids are dirty. But y'all get what I'm saying. Oh yeah, staying in Florida. I wanted to make it sure. Yeah. My wanted to clarify. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, so we got rid of our apartment in Jersey for a few months. So we're getting rid of our apartment in Jersey. Yeah, to do what makes sense. Stack up a little bit. Why am I paying for groceries? I let my mom pay for these groceries and my dad pay for these groceries. Why am I doing laundry? Let my mom do it. She ain't got nothing else to do. Why am I taking out the garbage? My dad can take out. Why am I doing all this? They gave us chores. Now let me say. All right, let's keep going with the video, and then I'm going to let y'all go because I'm already losing y'all. I feel like my mind is going.
Compared to 5 years earlier.
What would you say to someone, Dan, who's considering doing what you did?
I mean, for sure. Yeah, I've heard a very good outcome. I'm better off, certainly, with having a roommate.
Elaine Quijano, CBS News, New York.
And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at the roommates. Let me be very clear. I'm not mad at, the roommates. Sometimes it makes sense to get a roommate. I'm not mad at that at all. But my standpoint is I just feel bad that people don't have families where it's like, this is what family's supposed to be. Like, this is, I think, and I actually think at the core of humanity, even though us introverts may want our own, we want our own house, our own, I get all that. I get all of that. But I think at our core, we are at our best when we are around other human beings, around other animals. So yeah, have the dogs, all that. I think that we are just at our best when we're not isolating ourselves, but we're around loved ones, whether that's the pets, because, and matter of fact, I actually I need a dog or a cat. Based on traveling, probably a cat would make more sense, but they are just amazing when it comes to, I get jealous when it comes to the emotional support that these animals provide. Yeah. I can't rely on Maya to monitor my emotions and to monitor my, Maya over here laughing. Me and Maya and I had this funny, I got to share this video with y'all that it was breaking down this Asian culture. I don't know exactly what Asian culture it was. It may have been Chinese, where they were talking about how in the marriage, they're not supposed to manage each other's emotions. That's for an individual to manage your own emotions. And this is a little bit of an inside joke between Maya and I. I told her, like, yo, you need to manage my emotions. Like, you don't see what's going on. Like, I'm stressed. All right, let's wrap this up. Let me see how I can bring up the breath work. Obviously, it's a little bit of a different. Hold on, let me see. Let me try to pull up the breath work for y'all. Let me try to pull up the breath work if I can. Hold on. Don't y'all want to live with y'all family members? Y'all don't want your mom, your dad, your grandparents. You don't want in just one house. That's what it should be, and it shouldn't be, just freeloading. But you should be able to contribute in different ways, whether it's money or contribute in different ways. That's what a community should be. I thought that it takes a village. If it takes a village to raise a kid, then why not have that village internally rather than pay for the babysitter to be a village? Like, why not? No, they pay for even a teacher, homeschooling. Mom, that's just your job. You're going to teach my kid, like when we have some kids. We gotta, that's the goal. That's the goal. All right, let me stop talking and figure out how to pull up this breath work for y'all. And I appreciate y'all. I really appreciate y'all because y'all definitely, I appreciate us. Let me not say y'all. I appreciate us because what do we always say? Like, this is everybody when it comes to this show. This is not just me. It's not just anybody. This is everybody. So definitely appreciated. Definitely appreciated that we were able to lock in and stay here and figure it out and have a great conversation for me. I mean, I like talking with y'all. So let's get this on the screen. Hold on one second. Let me share this screen. Window capture. All right, here we go. Let me just make this little adjustment. I think I really like this OBS platform. But like I said, you just have to have all the videos already preloaded. So that way I don't have to do what I'm doing right now. But, it works for now. It works for now. All right, so let's get this breath work going. Y'all know the drill. If you're in a safe place, you can close your eyes. You can follow the sound of the yellow dot, or you can look at the yellow dot. But we're going to start first with an inhale. And as we inhale, we're making sure that we're paying attention, very intentional about inhaling positive energy. We want to make sure that we're inhaling positive energy, limitless energy. All right. Inspiring, motivational energy. And on the exhale, we're getting rid of all the limiting energy. Anything that may be getting in the way of us becoming the best version of ourselves. So let me press play and we shall begin with an inhale. Ready? Begin. Two more times. Let it out. And on this next inhale, this is going to be the last cycle. Be very intentional with the inhale. Hold it. And on this last exhale, we're going to get rid of that remaining negative energy that may be holding us back. Let it out. Y'all know what we come here to do. Elevate on purpose, both from an intentional standpoint as well as raising our standards to become the best followers, leaders, role players that we can become that are needed now more than ever. Strength and honor, onward and upward. Let's keep building. Let's keep building and making sure that as we're living in our purpose, striving for purposeful abundance, that we're on the right trajectory and that we have the right North Star that serves as a guide and guardrails along the way. That's what we like to call our bag, right? Our bag is what's going to help move us in the right direction so we can make that impact on the world that we talked about earlier in the show, that we get to choose, all right? Purpose We don't need to look. We just need to decide. Make it with our decisions. So based on your purpose, you figure out what impact you want to make on this world and what's going to be your personal legend. All right. So you got to figure out what's in your bag, what makes sense. The things that I like to focus on: peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and in everything we do, integrity. Got to have that balance and a big sprinkle of that perspective. All right. That perspective. I don't know whether it was Big Bro Finn or Big Bro Steve that had the comment regarding perspective. I think it was Finn because it was Marcus Aurelius, and it was talking about the importance of perspective. So let's make sure that we are moving accordingly and on the right path, y'all. So with that, thank y'all again, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, 8 a.m. We'll have the majority of these kinks figured out.